Hello world! So this video is a continuation of yesterday's video where I introduced the concepts of CNC machines. If you haven't seen that, you might want to watch that first. So this machine here is a laser cutter. It's a 40-watt CO2. It has two axes that move on its gantry, and it has some homing switches down below here to sense when the tool head is back at home. So this machine started off its life as a full spectrum laser, and when I got it, it came with this little motion controller board whose firmware was way out of date. So when I downloaded full spectrum software, the software wouldn't run because the firmware was archaic. Full Spectrum said that they would be happy to flash the firmware for me, and it would cost me about $600. So of course I told them to pound sand and built my own motion controller. I bought this laser from one of the founders of HackRVA, and when it was installed there, they were using some crazy Czechoslovakian version of Corel Draw that would integrate with the firmware, but that wasn't a good solution for me because it was proprietary and you couldn't extend it at all. So my first approach was to use a PC with a real-time Linux kernel where I could output the PWM waves directly to the laser. The only PC I had on hand with an actual parallel port was a Pentium 4, which I think dates back to 2003 maybe. So while it functioned and it could drive the laser and I could actually engrave stuff, the Pentium 4 was really slow, and it was really painful getting files on and off and doing the toolpath synthesis on a machine that's a decade old. So my next approach is going to be a fully integrated solution running LaserWeb on a small Raspberry Pi computer, and then for the motion controller itself using the Gerbil firmware running on an Arduino. Now I have Gerbil flashed, and I have it wired up to all my homing switches and my stepper motor drivers and whatnot. I still need to properly configure it with all the steps per inch and whatnot. So I'm going to keep working on getting this upgraded and back up and functional. Hopefully by next week I'll actually be able to laser some parts. If you'd like to follow along, of course, please subscribe, and thanks for tuning in.